day. So look, we do the best we can.
Right.
We really try. There's no lack of effort on here, but the results are there. That it's a tough thing to do. So what do you think?
I think parents want to do a great job, right? We all want to succeed, but I think a lot of times it's scheduling. So for me, when I know I'm trying to do better as far as eating healthy, I have to pre-arrange what I'm going to get from the grocery store on Sunday or Monday. I got to pre-plan my meals. Because if I try to do it on a day that I'm working, I'm rushing at the grocery store. I feel like I'm losing time with the kids later, my daughter later on that evening. For me, it's the time at the beginning of the week to plan it out, to know what I need, so that I feel like I'm setting myself up for success. And sometimes I don't have enough time.
So a great way is to plan ahead.
Yeah.
Darlene wanted to ask real quick what's in the bowl. It's popcorn, and Tracy's going to be sharing her recipe. So stay tuned for that.
This is my not doing potato chips at home. I have a
thank
popcorn.
you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
So Ashley, you said planning ahead. So tell us, how's that been working so far for you and your successes?
It never works for me. It never.
You know what to do, but it's just hard to do it.
It's because I have a large family, and if I plan ahead, the food is gone instantly. The more food I have in the household, the faster. Yeah, the faster they eat it, the more they eat. So
what do you think you're succeeding at? Like, what do you know you're doing well?
Buy as I go.
Buy as you go. Okay, as you need it.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And Monica?
For me, it's all about planning, and I do. Now, the key for me, and I'm going to throw out this term, you're going to go, what the heck is she talking about? I solar cook. So I basically
That's good, though.
have this device that's outside, and it has a reflective panel. I know you love this.
No,
and
it's super
you do
cool.
all
It's
the
100
science
degrees
stuff.
outside.
Oh, yeah.
Today's the day to be solar cooking.
But what it forced me to do is I really had to pre-plan those meals, because I had to figure out what's the angle of the sun, and then what is going to cook well at that temperature for a long period of time. And I had to get creative. But I'll tell you what, the food that comes out of there, the kids are like, yeah, we'll eat that. So they really enjoy just the
what are some
natural.
of your typical meals in your
I'll do a roast. Now, truth be told, I actually don't eat meat, but I cook meat for my family. I just say a little prayer for my animal friends that I have to cook. It's just the only way that I can make peace with it, people. Okay, so I will cook a roast with green beans, au jus. And maybe put a little bit of potato in there as well.
Go ahead, solar cooker.
So
I know.
I'll just buy a whole chicken. Somebody said junk food is cheaper. So one of the things
it is.
That's a
but
problem.
you know what? I'll buy a whole chicken, and it's already obviously cleaned up. I just throw that whole thing in there with the little veggies, and the juice from the chicken macerates with the vegetables, and they are just so flavorful. So they actually will eat that stuff. But again, it is about planning. I just make a list on Sunday. Here's my grocery list. This is for this day. This is for this day. You get leftovers. This is what you're going to make with it.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
The person that said that junk food is cheaper, I just wanted to comment on that because have you guys ever went into a grocery store and they have all the junk food right when you walk in?
Oh, yes.
And then as you're leaving, there's more junk food at the check stands.
Right.
And they're always having a for sale sign right in front of the junk food.
Buy
So
two, get one free.
So I totally understand where they're coming from. Junk food does seem to be on sale a lot and cheaper and always in our view for our children when we're shopping with them.
And in our kids' view, if you notice where they put some of those key items.
Exactly.
Give them junk food just to make it through the grocery store. Right, like, okay, you
Like
can have
my
some
3-year-old
chips. Just
chips.
chill out so I can get through the grocery store.
I have like a pre-planned speech of excuses when I check out because there's like bags ripped open. It's all like bad food. And I say, look, at one point in my family, we will run on love and respect. But right now, it's fear and bribery. This is bribery. Fear will be on the way home. I'm just trying to get through the day. I'm hearing preparation a lot from you.
Yeah.
I have to bring in the other side for this. The way that my family runs is we try to prepare. There's no preparation. Every single day in my house is absolute chaos because we are just trying to get from one moment to the next, running around. My wife has to go she's a photographer, so she's out running around, and so then sometimes it's on me. I might not find out until that afternoon that I need to figure out food. So the one thing that we try to do is at least we've got healthy snacks ready to go.
In the house.
Broccoli, hummus, things like that we know that they're going to eat. So at least when they start to get hungry before hangry, we have something that I know at least for 15 minutes. I did my job, because past that, all bets are off, because I don't really know how it's going to go.
It's a good alternative.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got some comments here from folks that have been chiming in. I know we've been mentioning a couple up here, but Michelle D says, when all you have are meats and veggies with berries in the house, they will get hungry in due time and eat what's available.
Exactly.
Just like
I
when a
agree
baby
with
doesn't
that.
want to, have the formula or breast milk or whatever, they'll get hungry enough and eat it. Jody P says cram veggies into things like meatballs, soups, stews, chili.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I definitely do that with
I
meatballs.
do that also.
Okay, Greg A, because somebody said, what about the dads? Well, Greg A chimed in. Thank
Call
you,
3
Greg.
moms and a dad. Thanks, Greg.
Yes.
Be dad number 2.
You start them at a young age and don't stop giving them fruits and vegetables. It's a matter of acquiring a taste for them. And that,
Yeah, don't give up.
yes. Catherine Z, step 1, cook them right. Step 2, don't make it a big deal. I don't know how many we want to go through. How many do we want to go through?
So let's take a break on
Yeah,
that.
let's do-
Cook them right. I feel like that is a really huge one, because, okay, there's a little trick that we have in our house.
Oh, what do you do?
Feel free to use this one.
Okay.
We do a
Thank
mixture
you.
of we do a mixture of healthy, fruits and vegetables, but we might throw in a little unhealthy thing just to make it happen. In other words, we might start cooking some vegetables, like we might do broccoli or cauliflower or something, and then just use like butter, like straight up butter.
Sure.
Oh,
Because then they're like, broccoli's okay, but I like the butter. Well, you got to get through the broccoli to get to the butter. So that's just the thing. It's like, we don't have to go all in. At
Yes.
least if you're making a couple steps forward and then kind of enticing them
Yeah,
just to get over the hump, a little sprinkle of sugar on a bowl of strawberries, that might help just to
Yes.
get them into it. And then the sugar starts to go away, and then they're used to it. So again, it may be fear, bribery, and trickery.
But doesn't it make you feel good? Like you get like a little check
Oh, yeah.
mark or gold star for parent that day? Like broccoli, check. I'm in. You know what I mean? All those things
Well,
I think we build up.
I think for me, my biggest thing is, since I don't eat meat and I have to have an
Right.
alternative, I eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of salads. And I also thought, okay, lead by example.
Okay.
So that they see what you're doing, just like parenting. If you're
Very true.
if you're going off the handle on somebody and getting into fights and stuff, and then you're like, don't lay a hand on somebody. It's like, well, why are you getting into fights?
Exactly.
So, and guess what? It worked. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to work at like 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, but I will tell you,
It works. It works at that age too. It does, because whatever I'm eating, my 3-year-old will come. No matter, he doesn't even know what's in my bowl yet. And he says, "I want
it
some."
will work at
Yeah.
that age, but then they hit this they start to individuate. At like 6, 7, 8 years old, like, I don't want that.
Exactly.
They're trying to be independent, but all of a sudden they start coming back around at like 13, 14, 15 years old, and they're like, I need to start eating healthier.
Yeah.
Their peers can help influence them as well. Like, wow, you eat a lot of bread, or
Yes.
that's what you're having for lunch. So,
Exactly.
Before we go to the next thing,
Yes.
are there any Facebook comments?
yeah. So Shannon said, I love this one. This one's
she
so
say?
funny. Ashley may be able to use this one. Ever since I told my son that the Hulk eats healthy, he started eating healthy.
Okay.
I do use that. My son is addicted to Ryan from Ryan's World on YouTube. So I'll tell him, Ryan called me and told me you have to eat this. It works.
Hey.
Yes, it does work.
Yeah, Popeye.
Popeye, yes,
It's
vintage.
vintage.
Yep.
And also, I wanted to comment on when we were talking about cooking with our family. If you have your kids help you prepare the meal in the kitchen, cutting the vegetables and make it as a
helps.
family activity, it's their food that they're actually eating, and they'll enjoy it more. So I always found out that doing it as a family helps, and
Right.
they're really excited about it too.
Right, and it may not be
Oh,
perfect,
Exactly.
but you know what? It's perfect for them, and then
Exactly.
they feel proud. They're like, "Look, Mama, I made that."
And
Try
they'll say,
it, try
"Mom,
it."
did you like it?" And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, it's
Well, I
awesome.
wanted
even
to-
if I did it.
So Cindy S said the same thing, and just one step further, I would have them grow fruits and vegetables and then cook or help them or
Cindy's
help
kicking
cook
it out
them.
now.
Yeah, she is. She got his
Yeah,
feet.
helping cook in any way possible might get them interested in trying new foods. I
Yeah.
agree that dipping vegetables or fruit in yummy dips is a good idea. So, you know, we are human after all. But
And the seasonings, you brought some seasonings too to
Yeah.
add flavor.
So this is what I did. So I love potato chips. I mean, like everybody's got their thing. Mine is French fries and potato chips. So I can't keep them in the house.
yeah.
So instead of doing microwave popcorn, I actually got rid of the microwave. I have a toaster oven now. I air pop. So I air pop the popcorn that I typically give my daughter. I don't use butter. I sprayed on some avocado oil spray. And I know you see this little green mesh of stuff here, this powder. Now check this out. Now you guys taste it.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you what's in it. Well, no,
I've
taste
been waiting.
it first.
I've been waiting to taste this because
Go
it
ahead,
smells
go ahead.
really good. You guys can't smell it, but and it
Oregano?
looks really good and
Yeah,
it
so I
smells really
put
good.
some pink salt on it, but
Okay.
here's what's in that seasoning. It is turmeric, sesame seeds, nettles, bladderwhack, kelp, milk thistle seeds, fenugreek, burdock root, schisandra berry, dulse flakes, black pepper, and garlic. All things I could never get my daughter to eat, but if I put it on this
Whoops.
popcorn, sometimes I do a little butter and I do the avocado oil, she will eat it, and then I feel like we're getting some good stuff in there. So, okay, what's
really
the
good.
verdict?
Oh,
It's
well, you
pretty
knew
good.
I was going to love it as soon as
I
you
love it.
started
It's really
mentioning
good.
turmeric.
But you're cheating a little bit because everybody knows kids love bladder whack.
I know, I need to Google that. What is a bladderwhack?
I don't know.
Oh,
We
no.
may find out later.
I
Okay.
know it, right?
Bam, bam,
So,
bam,
so here's some common challenges, right? So, you know, we do our best. We have some success. We're trading some tips. This is good. But, you know, when we get out of here, this is what we're going to face yet once again, because these things do not go away. 70% healthy food costs too much.
That's right. Organic is a lot.
Sometimes I'm like, that's it. I'm all in. I'm cleaning up this mess. I'm going to get everything good that I want that's going to be healthy. And then I see how much it costs. I'm like, And then we got 60% of kids don't like healthy food. That's a big generalization because some kids love healthy food.
Depending on how you
yeah,
give it to
exactly.
them.
Fruits, I mean, usually are a big hit. And 52% of healthy food is not convenient. That is a tough one because as
That's
we
a
talk
good one.
talk about a lot on this show is that we're just all strapped for time. We're
Yeah.
running around, and convenience usually is kind of the killer of the healthy diet, right?
Most-
Especially when you have the younger children that is really antsy, like I'm hungry and they want something right then and there,
have
or
to
they're
give
going to
them
throw a tantrum.
One of the things that I also looked at was just the amount of teens and young adults that have eating disorders because we don't take time to just slow down and appreciate the food that's in front of us because we are grabbing things so quickly. So you
Exactly.
can quickly spiral and not recognize how valuable what you're eating is to your body and just thanking your body for how much you're putting it
Yes.
through. That's what I try to tell my kids. I'm like, do you know what you asked your body to do today and what you're feeding it?
I like
and your
that.
body's
I
like,
really like
hey,
that.
do you not love me?
Right.
Why are you feeding me this junk? That's
So
not
another
gonna
good way would be communicating it to your kids how this is more nutritious for
your
you
body.
than what you're opposed to what you're eating that's unhealthy.
Right, and I try to, especially with the younger ones, like draw a picture of your heart. How do you think your heart feels when you eat stuff that doesn't fuel it, that doesn't give it good love and energy? And
Okay,
they're like,
so
man,
I have a question.
yeah.
Since my daughter's 6, I'm on the fence about when we see pigs and we see chickens and we see cows, how much do I really tell her that bacon that you love is a pig? You know what I mean? 'Cause
My
pigs-
daughter just asked me about that too.
Pigs love little animals, and so she has 2 chicks now. And I'm like, yeah, you love chicken, but did you know it's really coming? You're Fluffy over here that you love and that you feed every evening.
Right.
It's going to turn into a chicken. And I'm on the fence about how much I explain about that process because I feel like she might disassociate herself from food because
It may be tough, but then it's also her choice, you know, like,
Got you.
you know, and bacon's hard to walk away from.
I'm honest with my kids. I grew up in Indiana, and everything was half a side of cow every meal, or you know, pig. And I didn't love the taste, but once I found out where it came from, I was out. I was
Got
like,
ya.
I
I'm
told my
good.
daughter she approached me and said, "Mom, because I was making hamburgers at home." She said, "Mom, does this come from cows? Are we eating a cow?" And I said, "Yes, we are." And she looked at it like she didn't want to eat it, but I think she went for about an hour without. And then she went back to it, and
hour
she
of
haven't.
breathing.
Yeah. And then she went back to me, and then she did ask me, are the cows alive or dead when they it expanded to a big conversation.
How old is she again?
She's 10.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So
That's
she was
That's
really
a good age
curious.
to have that discussion.
You know,
yeah.
but part of you have tough discussions. Like
You
like that's
do.
the moment. So do you just ignore it? Do you make up stuff, or do you just go after it head on? So because now they know they have the information. Because sometimes it's our job just to tell them the truth.
Yes.
Okay, a couple more things to get through, and then we're going to get more comments, and
Yes.
then we will wrap it up. So here, through some research, a couple big tips that keep popping up again and again, and I think we've done some of these. Maybe some of these are new. Ways to get your kids to eat healthy. Mix veggies into favorite meals. This is great. Cauliflower into mac and cheese. There's some handy smoothies we hear about a lot. That's an easy, sneaky way to get some spinach in there, things like that. Presentation can go a long way. We've got some examples of that in just a second. Appearance is important. You eat with your eyes before your mouth. Be sneaky. I love that one. Yeah, they don't need to know everything.
Yeah.
And also enjoy the experience of cooking vegetables. You know, like you mentioned, you know, cooking, part of eating is cooking.
Right.
And if you can make that fun, because as adults, maybe we don't always look forward to that because it
Right.
takes time. We need to be doing other things.
Yeah.
If you can convince yourself that the cooking part can be fun, especially with kids,
Right.
they do really cute things when they're
They
cooking.
do.
They're trying to chop, and it's just this mess, and they're so proud of this mangled cucumber. And you know what? That's a moment.
It is a moment.
You know, and you may be fighting about eating that cucumber,
Yeah.
and you may be fighting about all the other things that you
you're
have to do as a
rushing,
parent.
trying to get it all
but
done.
because you included them with the cooking, you might have a good moment, right?
And they have things that you can include into cooking, like there's like Mickey Mouse things you can bake
Oh,
with.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
And
right.
you know, my son, when I made hamburgers, back to the hamburgers at night, I actually had to put happy faces on his bread so he would eat the hamburger, because he's, what age is he, 5? So he's starting to get into that picky stage, which you mentioned
Yes.
earlier, around 5 or 6. They're starting to challenge you of what
They
when you
wanna
get,
eat.
yeah,
Right.
So happy faces are hearts, and he'll say, "Mommy, add ears.
Yeah.
Can you add a nose?"
Right.
Next thing you know, it's ketchup
That's fine.
everywhere.
Kids will do almost anything as long as they're
Yes.
having fun. So here's
Yes.
some fun examples. Again, how to just dress it up. You could see
that's
some
cute.
That is
tomato.
very cute.
Yeah,
Ladybug.
and you know,
I would
we're
eat
all
that.
thinking, who has
Zucchini.
time to do all this? Every once in a while, you have time. You know,
Yes.
and your kids will thank you for it, because this is
I
fun.
like it.
Yeah, dressing up
Oh,
the
now
shish
that's
kebabs.
the eggplant pizza. You ever had that? So
I haven't.
It's pretty good. You cut up the eggplant. It's a what do you call it? Like a
Oh, he
moist
has it.
vegetable. So you have to let it sit 15 or 20 minutes. You put a napkin over it because you want to get some of the water out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you put a little marinara, some mozzarella, or whatever topping you want, and you put it and you bake it, and it is amazing by the time you get the cheese and the marinara. I don't even taste the eggplant.
See, that's good.
And
Yeah.
you can find a lot of these recipes on Pinterest too.
Oh yeah.
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 Well,
Well,
I always mention for Pinterest, real quick, Monica. For the guys out there, most guys that I know do not have Pinterest. I'm not logging on or looking up the password that I already
Sure.
forgot. So screenshot it. Send me the screenshot of whatever you find on Pinterest, and I'll do it. But I'm not downloading anything for recipe.
Right.
That's just me.
so Ron from Delicious Dish is joining us, and he said Parmesan on popcorn is very good. That's one of their
Okay.
favorites. And also family time at the dinner table, no cell phones. And you know,
Ooh,
I
that's
think
a good one.
I think that really does speak volumes too. When you know, many people were growing up maybe 20 years ago, you had family dinners almost every night.
did.
And now what we try to
yes.
do is every Sunday that we can, we try to have a family meal. And if we don't, my kids break down. Why aren't we doing family meal? That is my time. That's our time to just, you know, goof with each other. We've had some real interesting ones where I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? I need a glass of wine. All right. All right, let's get to some other comments here. Abby S. says, I always make my kids take a bite of everything I made. Didn't matter if they liked it or not. I didn't allow them to watch TV while eating, and I didn't award good behavior with foods or snacks. Cheryl GB says, we never gave them a choice. They'd eat whatever we served
Oh,
them.
that sounds like my mama. That's what we serving today.
And Ton A says, a great book that would be helpful if you need some advice and you don't have Pinterest, Rob.
I have one of her cookbooks.
Deliciously.
Seinfeld?
That's Jerry
Let's see.
Seinfeld's wife.
Yeah. Deceptively delicious, I should say. Simple secrets to get your kids eating good food by Jessica Seinfeld.
I got one of her books from the library. She had one with the meatballs, and she did cauliflower, eggplant. She actually did, is it farro? It's a type
Farro,
of grain.
yeah.
She put that in it. She had a little Parmesan. I baked it. She even had a little spice in it. It was so good. I'm not I like meat, so I search for meat. I want meat in what I'm eating. That was an actual meatball I had that did not have meat. It's like a veggie meatball. It was so good, and I was shocked because I had built up in my head it had to have meat in it for it to taste good. But now I will tell you, it was about 10 different ingredients.
Right. Yeah.
It was a lot of different ingredients. Yeah, so it was a lot of work.
Alejandra is a teacher, it sounds like. She has a talk with parents at back to school every year. We tell them to send snacks for the kids, but healthy snacks. So that was something
and
that
some
we
teachers
had.
aren't allowing cupcakes anymore.
Yes, ours
For
do not
birthdays.
anymore.
Right.
You have to bring a healthy snack, so you can get creative. And she says it's a struggle every year to get this point across. But if they can start somewhere, and sometimes school is a place where
school is a big influence, because I know if I go to the store, my daughter will say, "Mom, my friend had those chips at
my
school.
gosh,
Can you get those for me?"
Yeah.
And then she'll take whatever snack she have and share with her friends. So if they're both eating unhealthy snacks, that just triples your work into trying to get them to eat healthy.
And this stuff matters, I think, a great deal. I grew up with a mom that, she loved us, and she'd give us a full-size candy bar with lunch every single day. But here's the thing. If you eat that every single day, it's no longer this amazing thing. So
That's very true.
But my sister and I, we were like the ultimate traders, at lunch. We could get anything we wanted. And sometimes we wanted a banana, or sometimes we wanted a peach, or sometimes
we
we
came
wanted
home with a pack of cigarettes one day. It was very strange.
Right, exactly. They were,
Anything we wanted.
They were light. They weren't, a hard pack. Come on, now this is healthy. But so just do what you can, and ultimately you start winning those battles instead of losing all the time. We need to have some final thoughts. So Ashley, I want to start with you since you're our guest. So anything that you want to convey that you've learned that really works for you? You've got the most kids, so
yes,
you get the most time.
I do want to mention that every child is different, and I think hearing advice from all of us will help you see what works best for your own child. Each one of mine are completely different. What I do for one, I might not do for the next to get them to eat something healthy. Always communicate with your children about healthy eating and how important it is, and I think it starts with us as parents to have our children to eat healthy. So if we're not setting the example, then they're not going to follow.
Okay. Tracy?
For me, I realized my daughter has to feel like she has a choice. So our plan is, and I say to her, you cannot eat it, but you have to try it. You got to try it.
That.
If you choose afterwards you don't want it, that's fine, but mommy at least wants you to try it. And that way I feel like I get her to try some more things because she feels like ultimately it is her decision. So lately I got a juicer, and I got it because I was trying to make celery juice. And I let her make her own juice. So she did a little celery,
really
she did some
fun.
apples.
Sorry, we didn't mean to laugh. But let it be known, we laughed. Keep going.
So I let her make the juice, and because she was throwing things down the chute, she was invested, and she drank it. I don't think she would have done it if I just handed it to her. So I've realized if I get her involved, because sometimes with cooking it's too much because the oven is hot and everything's going on. If I can get her involved with something that I don't feel like is dangerous, she will buy in.
The juicer is a great way. And whatever flavor you put in there or whatever ingredient you put in, it always tastes good.
It does. With an apple. Everything tastes good with an apple.
Yeah. Yes, that's the key, an apple.
Well, since my kids are at a certain age, they're all preteens or teenagers. Mine's more about just self-love. Love your body for itself. Food should not be a battle. It should not be something we restrict because we're trying to lose weight. It's more about just appreciating what you have and trying to make it go as far as you can.
And anything on Facebook?
I think we got to, Alejandra just says any raw vegetables or fruit cups with lemon, salt, and how do you say it? It's tahine?
Tahine. My kids eat that on all
never
their
fails.
fruits.
It's like a spicy salt, right?
Yeah.
Kinda?
Yeah, like a lime
like
ingredient.
A lime salt.
A little
That's
kick
good.
to it.
I always see it, I just don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, right?
All right, I'll have one final tip.
Yeah, what do you
since
think?
my world is the little ones.
Yes.
Sometimes we try everything, it doesn't work. Sometimes they just want to play, so we turn eating into a game. So with my 2-year-old who's pretty tough right now, sometimes it's just we all play a game where I'll say, you're a sneaky shark. So I cover my eyes and you whisper to me, I'm a sneaky shark, and then you bite whatever's off the fork. And that's the way that they're eating. Or sometimes I run around, and every time I run around the kitchen, he's got to take a bite. Look, I didn't like look up this stuff. I was desperate. I'm like, this is
Rob, that's good
like,
stuff though.
I like
I'm not
it.
having
Wow.
fun. I'm gonna make something up while I'm having fun
Right?
going through this battle because
Yeah.
we got to figure out something. So like you mentioned, each kid's different. That wouldn't have worked with my older one. That works with my my middle one. I don't have to worry about the littles right now, but one day I will.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so thanks. This is a good conversation.
Yeah.
And guess what? When we get out of here, some of these tips that we've shared or read online
Yeah.
or looked up online
Yeah.
may work for tonight.
Yeah, and if you got
For
some
tonight.
Yeah, one night only.
And we always tell people if you have tips and you always want to share them, you think of a recipe we didn't talk about, something that's easy to make, please put it on our Facebook page or share it to ABC10 because I want to know.
We read these comments.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
need help.
All right, so this is Three Moms and a Dad.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for joining us, and thanks for joining us online. We'll be right back here next Thursday, right around 10:30 on ABC 10.
Okay,